Hey, this is Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. Have you ever thought about what the heck is a EF? Well, for the next few minutes, I'm going to talk to you about 7 ways or 7 reasons your emergency fund, that EF, is your financial lifesaver. So, let me tell you a little story right quick. Um, Over the years, it's been a blessing and a curse to have a emergency fund or not have an emergency fund. And I remember times when my daughter was very young, we were new parents, and we didn't have much money saved. And so when things came up, medical bills, things of that nature, we just didn't have it together, at 28 and 26 years old when we had our daughter. We were not what I would say um, financially savvy at that point. We had to get beat up a little bit and have some hard knocks. So as the financial first responder grew over time, I've learned that I have to have some form of EF available to me. Now, for some of you, you're going to say, hey, this is money I put away that I don't touch. And then there's some of you, don't be like I used to be, where my credit card was my EF. I'm just going to tell you, if you're one of those people, don't be that person. So without further ado, let's get started. So when we talk about this EF, this emergency fund, you need to have an amount set aside, okay? And what we normally suggest is that the amount needed is 3 to 6 months of real estate taxes and fixed and variable expenses, i.e., the stuff that you need to live off of. You see, you don't need to include your federal tax on this. My suggestion is that your emergency fund be above and beyond your current monthly expenses, which should be in your checking account. Now, some of you are going to say, well, I keep it in my money market account, I keep it in my savings account. What we're saying is that if you have 6 months, bam, 6 months set aside, that you also have your additional month there. So you really would have 7 months set aside. See, having an emergency fund is crucial for financial stability and your peace of mind. And here are the 7 reasons why everyone should have an emergency fund. So let's get started. The first thing is unexpected expenses. Now, life is unpredictable, and unexpected expenses can arise at any time, such as medical expenses, car repairs, or home maintenance. So, true story. I remember having a car where I couldn't afford to get my flat tire fixed because I didn't have money set aside. And what I learned from my parents, as well as other people in my family, is you always got to have some just in case money. Now, I don't know who I'm talking to right now, but some of you need to just stop for a second, rewind, put this money aside, whether you put it in a shoebox or the coffee can, or better yet, you just save it every pay period and put it away in the event something happens. First of all, you should be paying yourself 10% at a minimum before you pay anything. And then from there, and that's outside of your 401k or your TSP or your retirement plan, you should be paying yourself. And then what you do is you start avalanching your debt so that you have no more debt. Now that's going to take some time. You didn't get in debt overnight, and you're not going to get out of debt overnight. But one thing I do know is you're going to have unexpected expenses. Now, part of this, me talking to my daughter, she had some car repairs, and she learned over time that, man, used cars can be expensive. They're good because you don't have a car payment, but you still have to save in the event you do, right? And so right now I have a mechanic here, and he's smiling because if you know anything about mechanics, Not that they're bad people. They get paid pretty good to fix cars. And they do the job, the materials might be cheaper than the labor. So if you don't believe me and you haven't got a car fixed in a while, check it out. Unexplained or unexpected expenses. That's what you need an EF for. The next thing you need is a job for a job loss. See, here's the bottom line. Most people are 1 to 2 checks away from being put on the street. So if you lost your job or you face sudden reduction in income for some reason, an emergency fund can help cover those expenses until you find a new job or stabilize your income. Now, you probably saying, well, look, Mike, financial first responder, I like you. I subscribe to your channel. I follow you, and I even share your content sometimes. But ain't no way I'm going to lose my job. I work for the government. Well, guess what? Furlough. Never underestimate that you could go without getting paid unless you have a business or some form of cash flow, side hustle, right? You need to have that emergency fund. Now, the next thing we need to look at is this: healthcare costs. Because see, some of you don't take care of yourself health-wise. You don't invest in a gym. You don't go to a actual place to make yourself feel better, like a wellness center. You don't exercise on a regular basis. You don't eat right. You may drink too much. You may smoke too much. So health emergencies can be very costly, even with insurance. An emergency fund can help cover those deductibles, those co-payments, treatments not covered by insurance. Now, some of you probably say, well, I got an FSA, I got an HSA. Okay, that's good. You're doing that, but that is not your emergency fund. Your emergency fund is set aside for all emergencies. Now, the next one, some of y'all fail to realize that this happens a lot here in America. Natural disasters. See, natural disasters such as floods, hurricanes, earthquakes can cause damage to your property. Emergency fund can help you recover and rebuild. See, when you have those events happen, you have a deductible. And that deductible you have to pay as a part of the damages. And what I'm saying to you is you have to be prepared for if it happens. Not when it happens, but if it happens, because it's going to happen. That's why you need an EF or emergency fund. Now, at this point, you're probably saying, well, Mike Barnes, financial first responder, look here. I'm just going to do what nobody else does. I'm avoiding debt. But here's the thing. Without an emergency fund, you may be forced to rely on your credit cards or loans to cover unexpected expenses, leading to debt that can be difficult to repay. Now, anybody who's had a credit card in their life that they couldn't pay, you know that those people, after a certain point of time, are going to start calling you. You can avoid that by having an emergency fund. Instead of using your card, you push away from the table, just like you do with your plate, your food. You say, hey, I'm not incurring no debt this month. I'm not going to do this month. Now, I know some of y'all pay your bills through credit cards, but at least keep the cash in the bank and then pay the card off at the end of the month. That's the best thing that I can tell you as the financial first responder. You do not need cash in your pocket. I do know people who keep loads of cash on them, and I don't know if it's a sign of rite of passage or they just like to drop that card down. If you're going to pay with your credit card, pay it off monthly. Now, some of this stuff that I'm telling you should allow you to have this right here. A peace of mind, people. See, knowing that you have that financial safety net in place can reduce stress, anxiety, and allow you to focus on other aspects of your life. Your relationships with your wife or your husband, your kids or children, not kids, you don't have goats, um, your parents, your friends, and other loved ones. If you're not stressed out about that and you got that emergency fund, you good as golden. Now, once you've been able to do that, you have another thing that emergency fund provides. What's that, you ask? An opportunity fund, baby. See, right now, the interest rates are extremely high, and people are trying to buy rental properties and do all types of different things right now. But because they are cash poor or they're strapped for cash and they don't have that emergency fund, they may miss the opportunity. See, an emergency fund can also serve as an opportunity fund, allowing you to take advantage of unexpected opportunities, such as a job offer in another city. See, there's always job offers where, especially if you work in the government, and I'm talking to you government people right now, if you want to go somewhere, they give you the job, but they're not paying for relocation. Or let's say you got a chance to invest in a promising opportunity. Maybe it's a franchise. Maybe it's a friend's startup that if you invest in their startup, maybe 10, 20 years from now, it makes you financially well off. But if you didn't have the money to invest, then you're not able to take advantage of that, right? And so what I'm going to say is that EF, that emergency fund, in summary, having the emergency fund is a key component of the financial planning process. It can provide a sense of security in uncertain times. Now, people, we're going through uncertain times right now. And if you don't believe that you need an emergency fund, please comment in the chat on this YouTube video and tell me why you think you don't need an emergency fund. Even if you're well off and you make money hand over fist, I do know one thing. Everybody operates in business cycles, especially businesses. And what I mean by business cycles, you have ups, peaks, you have troughs, valleys, and it's a up, down, roller coaster. So if you haven't got hit with a financial hardship or some issue, you will at some point. You need to change your habits and get an emergency fund. Look, this has been Mike Barnes, the Financial First Responder. I appreciate your time. I ask that God bless you and your family and that you have peace of mind as you become financially free. One way to do that is through an emergency fund. This is Mike Barnes, the Financial First Responder. Please like and subscribe my channel, and God bless.